check out Winston's ensemble for the day. It's like today.
Somebody's in trouble.
Oh no, I have an appointment with the president.
Okay.
Oh, is that so? Okay, fantastic.
When I say have an appointment with the president, what it basically means is that today at the Kempinski Hotel,
Yes.
I'll be emceeing the Graphic Communications Group Limited Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources Stakeholders Forum or Engagement on our natural resources.
Right, and
Yes.
the president will be there.
Yes, the president will be there.
Good.
So,
To talk about Galamsey.
yes, all things being equal.
Okay.
Well, you know we're not going to miss.
Maybe we'll hear something new today.
Yes. We'll
Well, at the
definitely
end of, it's a 2-day program. It ends on Friday, that's tomorrow. I'm told there will be some policy direction. I would see.
Is Professor Watson invited?
Which Professor Boateng are you talking about?
Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng.
Kwabena Frimpong Boateng.
Well, I do not know of the guest list. I know of the panelists who will be there. When I check the panelists, I don't see Professor Frimpong Boateng's name in there. Okay. But I don't have the guest list.
Oh, you'll be a good resource if he's there.
Somebody who has.
I know that Franklin Soa, who is the director of marketing, sales and marketing of Graphic Communications Group, is listening right now. I'll check my phone when we go for, say it right to see if it's actually responded to who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. But let's get to our drive safe campaign.
I can imagine his thumbs dancing over his keypad right now.
Let's get to our drive safe campaign brought to us by Journeys in the Multimedia Group and supported by Toyota Superior Quality and Imperial General Assurance Solid Protection. So avoid all distractions, keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel, be visible, drive with your lights on at night, and that's how you drive safe.
Now here's how to say it right thanks to Kingdom Books. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Something must be done.
You say either, I say.
You know, I'm sometimes accused of being biased against one or the other of our two main political parties. That doesn't bother me much because here at Joy, we have a job to do, and that job is to bring facts to our audience. If the facts don't favor one party or the other, well, I honestly couldn't care less. Which reminds me of today's phrase for Say It Right. It's couldn't care less, not could care less. Now, and this is really a commonly made mistake. I couldn't care less means I don't care. It literally means I care the least amount possible. It is therefore not possible for me to care any less than I do. Hence, I couldn't care less. But when you say I could care less, you're saying it is possible for you to care less than you do. You're actually suggesting that it would be a good idea if you reduced the amount of care you have. In other words, you care too much. So I hope this settles the matter of how to say it right. I also hope it settles the matter of my fictitious bias. Although if you still don't get it, I still couldn't care less. And that's how you say it right. All right. Well, time for us to get into the newspapers, and the review is brought to you by First Atlantic Bank. Refreshingly different. Where are we starting?
Well, let's start with the Chronicle for this morning, and the Chronicle says, Proverbs chapter 25 verse 8, do not go out hastily to argue your case. Otherwise, what will you do in the end when your neighbor, I can't get the rest, humiliates you? So that's, the Bible verse for today. Do not go out hastily to argue your case. Otherwise, what will you do in the end when your neighbor humiliates you? Now, the big one here says NDC is tearing apart as EC runs away from Saturday's Congress. So, we all know this story. A bit of an update. Well, the NDC secured abridgment for tomorrow.
Right.
See what would happen. The General Secretary of the party says the party is doing everything possible to ensure that the elections are held on Saturday. And so I've told you that if the elections are going to be held on Saturday at 8 p.m. tomorrow on Joy News, we'll be there to bring you Election Eve, where we'll do all the analysis. That's if the elections would happen.
So now the fate of this election is in the hands of a judge who will preside over this case.
And also if the NDC is able to, reach a bit of an agreement or a consensus, with Dr. Dufo and his team, because, they have said, look, you've not been fair to us. They said that you've not been fair to us. Yesterday we heard, that the NDC says the remaining 47 constituencies are ready, but they've complained about discrepancies in the register. Now, will they be able to solve all of that within the next 2 days before the Congress? Well, let's see. National Vaccine Secretariat ready, implementation of RTI law, Hefra Keta Assembly getting stubborn is also here. And that's it on the front page of the Chronicle.
So the Daily Guide has this front page story, and the EC pulls out of NDC pools. Same story you read, and it appears to be the main story on most of the newspapers we have this morning. Now, that's was in Vaccine Institute Board. Remember that some after COVID, the story was that, or the discussion was that Ghana was badly exposed. We were not ready, and so there was a need for Ghana to put itself in readiness for future pandemics. So Professor Fimpo Boateng led a team put together by the president to design the framework towards the establishment of the National Vaccine Institute. Now, the inauguration of the office complex was done yesterday, together with the inauguration of the board. So there's a new board. I don't see Professor Boateng here, but that's fine. So, President inaugurated the board yesterday, and to spearhead the local production of vaccines. The target is that in the next 2 years, we'll have fill and packaged vaccines to deal with COVID, malaria, and of course tuberculosis.
Well, I mean, my only concern would be, yes, it's good, to have this board in place. It will be also important for us to find out whether we can actually look at researching and coming up with other vaccines that are not even in the world.
Right.
It's important. I mean, it's not just saying we're going to be reproducing vaccines that we currently have. If there are vaccines in other parts of the world, yes, you could do the analysis and find out if by coming out with a similar vaccine, it will be cheaper in Ghana. But for me, the real issue also is how we can also look into other diseases that are peculiar to our environment,
and we can find our own vaccines to deal with,
and find ways of dealing with it.
In fact, that's the target. The target that in the next 10 years we should be able to do this. For the next 2 years, the target is that you have, they call it fill and finish. So you take somebody's intellectual property or somebody's method, and then reproduce it here, package it, and then sell. For the next 2 years, the focus is on COVID-19, malaria, and of course tuberculosis.
Do you know, as a country, when I heard about the inauguration of that facility, I was very excited for Ghana. And then, of course, I remember that this is something we should have done a few years ago, a number of years ago, during the Ebola scare, when the man who now heads our Ghana Standards Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, actually, started to work on an approved agreement to set up some vaccine testing sites here in Ghana, and Parliament stopped it. They said they were afraid that the people were going to come and test Ebola here and we will all get Ebola.
Yeah, I remember that story.
And Professor Alex Dodu actually said on TV that, look, if the parliamentarians don't understand what they are saying, they should keep quiet.
And it was hauled before the Privileges
Committee. Now today we are setting up a whole factory
to deal with the same matter. Very interesting. So still on the front page of the Daily Guide, NDC register males as females for the upcoming election. So you have pictures of some of them. You'll find a male name, and then the picture is a female. In some instance, you'll find a female name. The picture is a male. And I guess these are some of the grounds upon which Dr. Dufo is in court, saying that the voters register cannot be credible to hold any election. And then Atu Asian runs from jail, pays 4 million Ghana cedis, and let me just give you the reason why he was unable to pay. And the Attorney General said he was asking the court to put him in jail. He says in his application is practically begging the court not to impose a custodial sentence on him, as his inability to pay 20 million Ghana cedis was not deliberate but caused by the economic hardship in the country.
Yeah, do you remember I actually said times are hard when we first did this story? I said, look, times are hard. It must be difficult for him. But the law, was quite clear on what should happen. So he's managed to find 4
million out of the 20 million that he's expected to pay.
Well, look, at this point in time, yes, we want to get the money, okay. and he's indicated that he wants to pay the money. And we know that times are hard. I think he should be negotiating, okay, reaching agreements with the Attorney General's office on the way forward. He should give them a plan that would say, for instance, that this is what I intend to do, and the Attorney General's department also. If it finds that the plan is acceptable, should accept it. What I do know is that sometimes it's been challenging even getting to sit down with the Attorney General's department to negotiate on these things. All they tell you is that make payment. But the reality also is that times are very hard, and that will not be making an excuse for people. But look, right here in this country, the government owes people their maturing coupons. They've not been paid. Okay,
Times are hard.
Government owes people their maturing coupons. They've not been paid. Government has actually decided to stop the payment of our external debt pending the completion of an IMF program. That notwithstanding, our two ASEAN is agreed to pay the money, and so should pay. Whatever happens, he must pay the money.
At this point, I don't know whether the negotiation will happen between Atuasian and the Attorney General's office, because this is following a judgment, isn't it? Following a court ruling. So maybe the negotiation has to be with the court, because they are the ones who have imposed the current plan that he's supposed to be abiding by. So, well, we'll see.
Let's get to the daily graphic for this morning. Graphic Lands Ministry dialogue today. Law enforcement tops agenda. And so we're told that the dialogue that I told you about, where the president will be speaking, we're told that enforcement of our laws will be key on the agenda. But of course, the last time we had a conversation about illegal mining or galamsey, we said that look, if we're enforcing the laws and enforcing them properly, it would deter others from getting involved.
But there's already a law amended in
laws.
Parliament, more stringent, more severe.
But the question is, are we implementing those laws? The question is, are we taking
prosecuting
people to court and charging them by those laws, or we're taking people to court and charging them by laws that probably would get them some 2-year sentence or 3-year sentence?
We're hoping to bring you an exclusive interview very soon.
Right.
With the Attorney General, where we are going to raise a lot of these issues, because he believes that prosecution is the solution to galamsey.
Yeah. And he's not getting the needed help from the courts.
We'll see how that goes.
Yes, I mean, the prosecutor should also do the right thing sometimes. Daily graphic is still 14 institutions fined 1.3 million for non-compliance with RTI law, and Agric offers prospects for employment, prosperity. Graphic MD Lords Miss Agriculture Ghana initiative. President swears in Vaccine Institute Board inaugurates office. We've talked about that already. AG launches Public Defenders Division of Legal Aid, and EC stays off NDC elections also on the front page. Now, the back page says Ghana Standards Authority shuts down cable manufacturing company operating without certification. So we were told that yesterday the Ghana Standards Authority closed down electrical cable manufacturing company at Chopoli in the Ningo Pram district for producing without certification. Also, the company, Fenice Metal Technology Company Limited, was found to be labeling its illegally finished products as manufactured in Turkey, China, and Nigeria before selling them to the public.
Did I hear something about a Miss Agriculture?
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay. So the Business Finder says need to enroll 750,000 self-employed for regular income during old age until death.
See, this thing that, yes, this is something that SNIT wants to do. SNIT wants to embark on getting persons within the informal sector, to be contributors to the scheme. They call the HOTEM seed, and I think it's a good thing. I'll tell you why. Because look, the SNIT scheme is one that ensures that in your retirement you're taken care of. Okay, we may have all the challenges we have with the SNIT scheme, but I just looked at the financials recently, and the fact that when you're on the scheme, you expect that by 72 years, all things being equal, you'd have been gone. If you're not gone, SNIT will continue paying it for you. But even if you get onto the scheme, for instance, and you're incapacitated, you cannot do anything again, SNIT will continue to take care of you.
Right.
I think it's a good scheme, and for all those within the informal sector, you should take advantage of it.
But social security is very important, especially for the working class, and indeed for everybody. and inflation is now at 41.2, coming down from 45% in March, and in April ended at 41.2. But Amani, Amani, Amani is actually pushing food inflation up. Dry fish, if you like.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting. Ghanaians businesses to showcase products in Kenya and after. So these are some of the stories making rounds in the Finder business.
Let's go online. The online review this morning is brought to us by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goyle Good Energy.
And Gold, your oil marketing company of choice, keeps making life so convenient for you. Gold now access more for all of your purchases. Just remember to move it at Goyle, and that's not all. You can also use your bank card. That is all bank cards to buy fuel at Goyle. Drive to the nearest Goyle station now, buy your fuel, pay by Momo bank card or Goyle Go card. Visit Goyle social media platforms, Facebook Goyle.official, Instagram Goyle_GH, and on Twitter Goyle_official for more information on the service stations. You can conveniently use Momo. Goyle Good Energy. Goyle. Yeah, team.
All right. So, NDC primaries, court agrees to hear injunction case on Friday instead of Monday. That is actually what Ibrahim Amaliba said that they were going to attempt to achieve, and it looks like they have done that. Now, this story, I want you guys to go check it out on myjoyonline.com. It says, a domestic debt exchange program. I feel used after 38 years of service. Retired soldier cries out for his coupon payments.
But he's a retired military, a brigadier general. Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, and look, and he has every reason to feel used, because you have served this country. The country promises to grant you an exemption, and so it means you must get your coupons being paid and principals being paid, and the country is refusing to pay you, and the country doesn't even deem it necessary to explain anything to you. I mean, how could we treat our pensioners that way? Not
just pensioners, but our military men, people who have served in the military, and that job, the whole job is a sacrifice,
right?
And then at the end of that sacrifice, this. Also on myjoyonline.com, woman in viral Father Bernard video explains why she jumped onto the casket in the grave. Go find out what she said. Right now, though, it's time for the BBC News, brought to us by Fidelity Bank. Believe with us.
Of families with our employee